Okay, hi everyone. This is just a video for parents of students doing our strings program here at Victory Lutheran College. And the purpose of this video is just to show you how to help the kids look after the instruments and ensure nothing gets damaged. So I have one right here ready to go. And when I open it up, you'll notice straight on top of the violin is one of these covers. These have a notorious habit of disappearing, so please make sure that that stays on top of the violin. It's like a protective thing, it protects it from the bow on top there. So it just lives there, but because it's sort of separatable from the violin, it's easy to lose. Also in the case, you'll see that there is a shoulder rest. That's where we keep it, just there, and it slides in there. Sometimes students can't work out sort of where to put it, or they close it all up and they're like, oh, what do I do with it? So we just keep them in there like that. And just keep an eye on your student when they're putting their instrument away, that they are strapping the instrument in. Because if it's not strapped in, it will float around in here and hit plastic things on there, and that's, not great for the instrument. Okay. Another thing, just up in the compartment here, we have some rosin. So this is for putting on rosin onto the bow. We'll show the students how to do that, but just making sure it goes back. If they do use it, they won't have to use it every time, but it just lives in there. Okay. Now, the bow here, there's a little clip that holds that in place, so again, it doesn't float around in the case. One really, really common thing students do is they unclip it and then they try and pull it straight out, which tears out this sort of end holder at the end. So they need to bring it backwards and then out, not like this, where it sort of levers out the end protective cover there. Okay, so just keeping an eye on them with that. With the bow, it should be stored with the hairs nice and loose. See how they're quite loose there? That is how it is for storage. Otherwise, the bow will bow the other way if they're kept tightened up all the time. So the students are taught to tighten and loosen the bow using the end here, which moves this thing, which is called the frog. It moves it up and down to pull the strings tight on the bow. So when I do that up, and just keeping an eye on them, making sure that they don't tighten it up too far, it should be about a finger, I say a little finger, it's my little finger, width in there. And that's right in the middle of the bow. So little finger. If they keep going with it, again, it'll pull the bow the other way, which will destroy it. They're about $70 each, and I replace one nearly every time we have a violin program. So I'd like to avoid it if we can. And it should have a nice bow this way. You can see that one's like that. Really, really important that when they finish practicing, they loosen this off until the strings are nice and loose and hanging there. And you can see they're touching the wood now. Some students will make the mistake of screwing this all the way out. For some reason, they want to keep going, they want it looser, and then that comes out, and then that comes out, and they think they've destroyed the thing. But it's not a big deal. It just goes back in a little groove hole there. So that goes in there like that. And then you can just put this, which has a thread on it, back in. So that's not a disaster. They should know, like if that starts coming out like it is there, you're going too far. Yep. So again, the hairs should just be just nice and loose there, sitting on the wood. And then you're done. That's how the bow should be stored. Really, if it's done up for, even 24 hours, sometimes 48 hours, it can ruin the bow. So really keep an eye on that one, please. There was one. Before I put the bow away, the other thing is, please don't let them run their fingers on the hairs. It actually, the grease and the dirt on your hands gets all over the strings. You can't really get it off, and it does impact the sound of the instrument, so not real good. Ask them not to go feeling it. Yes, it is horsehair. It's different for them, so they'll be inclined to want to do that. Try and encourage them not to do that. Putting the violin away. can be just the reverse. Really, it doesn't matter if they do the bow first or the violin first, but let's do the bow. Again, just sliding it in the end. I tend to use the top one, like that, and it fits nicely. One little mistake they'll do is they'll try and go the other way, and then you end up with a problem because it doesn't fit anymore up here. So it sort of only goes one way. If you put it in the bottom one, it's the opposite way. It can go in the bottom one like that, but if I turn it over, it won't quite go. Okay. You can also watch them, I didn't mention this before, when they're taking it out, sometimes the hairs get caught. You can see I've got them caught now on here. So sometimes that can be a bit of a pain, and if they pull them out, it'll break the hairs of the bow. Now I've gone and got that quite caught. No. Okay, we're out. Awesome. And then just latching that bit there. Right, my violin's nicely strapped in. Got my shoulder rest. Pop it in the end there. Put my cover on, and away you go. And then it just zips up around the side. If the violin is velcroed in and they don't zip it up and the top comes open, the violin won't fall out. So there's another bonus of that. My own violin teacher had a violin worth many thousands of dollars, and his case flipped open and it fell out and cracked it, which with those high-end instruments, that's not much fun. So yeah, please help us out and help your child out in looking after the instruments, so that they're there for the next user or the next program we have come through. Thanks for watching.